Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Molweni, salibonani, itaola, dumilani, dumelang. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to the Football Experience, an online show at every Thursday from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. You can catch us live on my personal wall, the Killer Pass Facebook page, the Parrot Online Facebook page, and the Highline Sports Facebook page. I'm your host, Molefhi Kannemeyer Obenne, also known as Kim Molf, and author of Botswana Football, A Fool's Paradise. In today's show, we're going to look at the news that made it to the local newspapers and also on your various Facebook pages. Ramraga's absence at 30th Galaxy explained. Lesego Kgalna Mothale wins his case against the Orapa United. CASA dismisses Kaizer Chiefs transfer ban appeal. And not on his midfielder, Teddy, extends his contract with the club. And then in Orapa, yet again, they've terminated a contract of the Tanzanian midfielder, Hamsi Rikisi. And then Tsotsongele's class is still evident as he has scored 3 goals in 3 games. There's a breakthrough in Senzo Miwa's meta case, and we hope the case will be put to rest. And unfortunately, we have lost the former Tafik defender, Max Venter, and his memorial service was held today in Francistown. I'm not alone. I'm joined by Kagiso Leroy Ratswaneng. Thuli, Jankey, and Fox, they've sent the apologies and will accept their apologies. Mr. Ratswaneng, let me welcome you to the show, man. Okay. Let me welcome you to the show, Mr. Leroy Ratswaneng. I hope you are well. You had a good week, my man. Leroy?
Evening, Kimov. And hello, Kimov.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Continue.
Oh, okay. Now, I said good evening, Kimov, and to the listeners and to those who are actually watching. It has been a very good week. Weather was fine, a little bit better, and not too hot like last week. So, and news are coming in so fast now regarding our players. Yes, not necessarily local football, but we are having some strides now in terms of how our guys outside the country are performing, especially in South Africa.
Uh-huh. And maybe just to get your opinion, I saw a report on the COVID results with regards to the recovered cases. What's your opinion on that? Why do you have such an exponential number all of a sudden? Yes, Leroy.
Political statements, but here you are actually asking me to make one. Yes, I said I know you don't like political statements, but you ask now that question prompts me to make one.
Okay. You're allowed to make one, sir.
The
seems to be struggling with Mr. Leroy Ratswaneng. I wanted him to address this issue of Botswana now having so many recovered COVID cases. I was so astonished that we could recover with so many numbers within a short spell of time. Nevertheless, I hope it's not a political statement, like you said. Maybe it might be a political statement. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Molefhi Kannemeyer Obenne. I'm your host for this show. One of the headlines this week: Lesego Kganla wins his case against Orapa United. Lesego has won his case against his former employees, Orapa United, over wrongly terminating his contract with outstanding signing on fee and outstanding balances on his salaries. Botswana Football Association, the dispute resolution chamber, has ordered Orapa United to pay Lesego Kganla a sum of 113,000 by the 30th of November this year. This has been a long battle. I must mention the viewers at home. This issue has been there for the longest time. If you could remember very well, Lesego Kganla he got injured while he was still with Orapa, and then this injury, it took him out of action for the longest time. So it means he couldn't, train, and then he couldn't see his contract off with Orapa United. And then they terminated his contract. Then he believed that at the time when they were terminating his contract, it was not like it was his fault, but he was injured while he was still executing his duty. Mr. Leroy, I want to believe you have seen Lesego Kganla story. So the guy is finally happy. You'll be getting 113,000 from Orapa United after his issue was dissolved by BFA resolution chamber.
There are two things, the way I looked at it, more regarding that issue. The first thing is that we actually probably can trust our tribunals within our football cycle now, locally. Like we can have issues which are domestic and then can be settled by our domestic tribunals within football cycles, of course. So that actually shows the potency that our DC and the respective tribunals might be carrying at the moment, that they can be trusted. And secondly, a player like Lesego, who's been there, done that, he actually knows what is good for him. He's played the game at the highest level for a very long time, and it's not like a player who fights for his right. That probably you can label him like that. No, it's a player who says, "I worked for this. Can I get what I worked for?" So I think for me, it's good for football, and it's a good precedence that has been set. That once players are owed, they need to be paid accordingly. We cannot have an instance where players continue to be owed and no arrangements are made, and ultimately our players go to CAS and then look for reprieve from CAS, and then our issues go out and they become big because they are with CAS now, and then our football is looked back again as an industry in which then tribunals fail to actually resolve issues. So this one for me, it has been dealt with accordingly, and it's a good precedence to set for football.
So there's a victory for both players and the judicial system in our country.
Yes, truly so.
Oh, perfect. I also want to believe, the issue is marred by a lot of other issues where Lesego's agent at the time, when the issue was first heard, there's the same agent, he became a witness for Orapa United instead of now him representing his player at the time. So there were a lot of, underhand tactics that prevailed during this case. But yeah, but like you said, it shows now, it even restores the judicial system in our country. Kudos to Botswana Football Association, a dispute resolution chamber, and also kudos to Kgalala Mothale for having won this case. Going further afield in South Africa, Mr. Leroy, Ramoraka's absence at TS Galaxy explained. If you can remember well, Ramoraka went to TS Galaxy after Highlands Park were sold. That status were sold. So he was part of that cohort that went to TS Galaxy. So it has been said that yes, he's part of the TS Galaxy squad. He has not been registered yet because he's injured. He'll be registered during the transfer period, said a reliable source with the links to the players. I don't know whether we should believe this link or this reliable source that we have been told about. But you, knowing TS Galaxy with its history on Botswana players, do you see this player being able to don the TS Galaxy T-shirt in January?
It's a big worry for me, Kimolf. When I read the story, I was actually taken aback by the fact that yes, it was said as coming from a reliable source, but that the source states that Lesotho will only be registered in January should he be fit to actually play. I was just wondering, TS Galaxy now has opened up a window that we are leaving this slot for this one player to come and register in January should he be fit. Or they've actually registered the full set of players, because that's what I wanted to check, to see if TS Galaxy has registered the full set of players and trying to corroborate the story that they actually have opened an avenue for him to register in January. So that's something I wanted to look into before I could actually be happy with the story that's coming. But Lesotho, I mean, Ramoraka, and on the other hand, what he did at Highlands Park has been very good. He played so well. He actually executed himself well. He was loved by so many football followers in South Africa. Others even called for him to be a South African citizen, because he was actually doing very well. So that's another thing that gives me some hope that he's done well for usually to claim his keep. And I don't think TS Galaxy are playing any games to actually say they are opening a window for him and only he can be registered in January. So let's, like I was saying, Kimhoff, they have closed on registrations and they are there already. Teams are still building. This is new, so I really appreciate the story that's coming and agree with it that probably there might be some more avenues allotted, and he's going to take one place of those.
Let's hope the story is very true and the boy will be back in action in January amid his injury wounds. So we believe he'll be healed and then he'll be able to play again. So it means now he won't be able to be part of the national team going to the AFCON qualifiers in November. We wish you well, Ramoraka. We believe you'll be back with a bang and also back stronger. I know this one, KG, is very close to your heart. Kaizer Chiefs, they appealed the ban on signing players. But the Court of Arbitration for Sport dismisses. Yes, sir.
Kimolf.
You can go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was saying before we went to the Kaizer Chiefs. What's of keen interest for me also is that is TS Galaxy currently paying? So that's again one issue that is critical importance. How is he been taken care of? Is TS Galaxy taking care of him? Even the rehabilitation, therapy, and all that, are they paying for everything? Just waiting for him to register, because those can be good indicators of what to expect in January.
Oh, very true. But under this pretext and the information that we got, I want to believe TS Galaxy is paying him. If they are not, that will be unfortunate, and then there will be unfair on the player because they gave us an impression that the player is still the player, and then they're still monitoring his injury situation, and they even assured us that in January he'll be back. So I want to believe with such information, even though we don't have, we can't really prove it. We want to believe he has a contract with TS Galaxy, and the contract is running, even though he's not registered, but they're also taking care of him on a monthly basis.
Okay.
All right. Still in South Africa, Kaizer Chiefs, they had a transfer ban from FIFA following Hansina Adromanina Nana. They used to call him Adrian. This player was from Madagascar.
Yeah.
And then this decision was taken on the 5th of December 2019 that Kaizer Chiefs will no longer be signing or be allowed to sign new players for the next two transfer windows? Yes. For the next
two consecutive transfer windows, yes.
Yes. So now they have not been able to sign. That was in January, and then they have not been able to sign currently. So they were challenging that, but unfortunately, CASA threw their case outside the window, and they said Chiefs must observe this sanction. So it means Kaizer Chiefs won't be able to sign players currently. Moving away from this issue a bit, Mr. Leroy, how should Kaizer Chiefs take advantage of this situation?
And when things happen, like sometimes we actually do not foresee what's going to ultimately be, because we actually do not have that foresight to look into the future. But as things unfold and the actual or reality then hits the ground, then you can actually tell that some of these things are just blessings in disguise. For Kaizer Chiefs now to have brought in Gavin Hunt, let me start from there. They actually brought in a coach who is not afraid to actually introduce a young boy to in the first 11. They brought in a coach who can build players or can get players who need to be improved and improve them. And now you can see that that for Kaizer Chiefs, because they have a very good MDC side, and there's several players who have been promoted over this now. Yes, some have been low teams, but a few of them who actually even played for the South African under-23 national, but for the Olympics, are still there. And Gavin Hunt is somebody who is not shy to play this play. And for now, he doesn't have that pressure of wanting to redeem the reputation of Kaizer Chiefs and everything else. Because everybody now comes from the empathetic side and say Kaizer Chiefs cannot register for two consecutive windows. So let's not put in so much expectation and pressure on the coach and the players. Live with what it's an issue of living within your means. If you understand what I'm trying to give you out.
Yes.
Gavin Hunt started in the last game to play some very good boys like Ngobo actually even showed that last season, but he didn't get much of game time. There are several of these other few guys who came on and they showed that if given a chance, they can actually deliver. So what they need is a good blend. A good blend is where you have senior players and these young players playing together in one team. Not just sitting on the bench or on the stands or just being part of camp. They need to play like a team consists of 11 players. You need to have 6 of the senior players and 5 of these boys. Or even the others is still going to happen. But what I'm trying to get at, Kim Morpheus, get a relatively good balance as a coach to play the young players and the senior players. You cannot go in and have 10 young players and 1 senior player. That one won't happen. But if it don't give the results, because Chiefs, regardless of what we are saying now, the supporters from Gavin Hunt, he scraped some wins through. Like he got the 1-0 win against yesterday. So that's what we're looking for. Even if the goal was an own goal and we are making it that Chiefs didn't score the game, it doesn't matter. What supporters need to see is the 3 points coming in, whether trickling, but they need to see some scrapy wins coming in, and now the players exerting themselves like they did yesterday. So this is what now Gavin is going to work on, and I believe him doing very well in that, because he can make a very good balance. But some players there, they do accept that their time is gone, and they if benched or now put on the stands, they just have to accept and be on the stands. Some of them, and I see the fans' favorite being fans' favorites being on the stands. The likes of Kuni, the likes of Parker, they're gonna go there. Katsande, those are the few players that you see. They were replaced in that last game, and the guys who were replacing the young boys who were replacing them did very well. So you must keep your ear on the ground, keep your eyes glued to the screen, and make sure that you watch how these boys develop and grow into being very good players, because these guys have experience already. Most of them are playing for the under 23, and that's why Kim Wolf, it's very key that we have a developmental league that's running and it's active and it's competitive. That's what Kaizer Chiefs has benefited from now. Imagine if there was no developmental league in South Africa, where would Kaizer Chiefs be getting all these young players? So Kaizer Chiefs would be stuck. They would be stuck with the players who are not delivering, who have not delivered in the last 6 years, and there will be no hope. But now, players coming through the ranks, having played competitively and active football year in, year out, now they're actually giving them something to smile about.
Yes, just to give you the background of Kaizer Chiefs and Andrea Mirado as issue was that the player was still belonging to a club in Madagascar called the Fossa Juniors FC. And the information gathered was the player was still under contract with that club. And given these circumstances, the FIFA DRC, Dispute Resolution Chamber, concluded that the player unilaterally terminated the employment contract with Fossa Juniors without just a cause. As a consequence, the player was ordered, together with Kaizer Chiefs, to jointly and severely pay a compensation of 40,000 US dollars. That's close to 400 pula to Fossa Juniors FC. In addition, a 4-month period of ineligibility was imposed on the player, so it means the player will not be able to play. But I think now his ban has he has served his ban of 4 months. Was imposed on the player, and Kaizer Chiefs was banned from registering any new players either nationally or international for 2 entire and consecutive registration periods. So the only thing that Kaizer Chiefs could do during this period was only to promote players within the structures, as Mr. Leroy was already alluding to, that we have seen a few players now being promoted from the MDC side into the Kaizer Chiefs first team. A blessing in disguise, and also the importance of having your development structures intact. I think, Mr. Leroy, this is another epitome. This is another example of football being a winner. I'm saying this because Kaizer Chiefs, as a big brother, they influenced this player, Andriana Maminana, to terminate his contract while his contract was still running with the club, that Fossa Juniors, because they are Kaizer Chiefs. This big brother mentality, sometimes it doesn't work. It actually oppresses all these other small teams. It's everywhere. I remember one guy in Kenya, after he bought Botswana Football, A Fool's Paradise, he said, Morph, everything that you have written in this book is also happening in Kenya. I want to believe even in Botswana, we have cases like this.
Kimov, that's what people have always said. Football is it has some, I wouldn't call it traits, but it has some similarities happening across the world sometimes. And something that probably happened in England in 1930, I'm just giving a hypothetical example, might happen in South Africa in 2020, and somebody can relate with that case. This happened before, and this is what usually what usually transpires. The big brother mentality, I saw it happen in Botswana, where players were gotten from Notwani, who came through development at Notwani. They were taken by players by other big clubs like Center Chiefs. I'm just giving an example of something that it's a fact. Rollers did the same. They took Tsotso from Santos. And at that time, if you remember the Tsotso story, Red Brasilia he tried to pursue it. He wanted compensation, but nothing happened. Even when I was still at GU, we in Bakamwing player. It was unfortunately injured whilst we were in BDF 11, and he never got back to full fitness. They actually came to us and said we should compensate them for Fakan's development. And at the time, because I was an administrator and looking at the end of my club, GU at the time, I refused. Vehemently so. And but the Flamingo Santos, many of them I grew under, and some I grew with. So they actually said, KG, you are the one who is doing all these things, but you understand. And I did understand, but I could not actually agree to actually pay them for anything, because I had seen it happen that precedence has been set. Players are taken from developmental sites, and they're being taken as if these teams are feeders, when these teams are competitors and they need to be paid and be compensated accordingly. We got the same treatment with the now defunct Wits University when they took NATO from us while I was still at GU. They did the same thing. NATO actually was pushed by external forces to move out of GU. Everybody was telling him how now is a chance that they cannot miss. He needs to terminate our contract. He needs to leave regardless of what we are saying. If we put so much money, the agent was even on our necks saying we're actually making NATO lose a lot. So ultimately we just gave in and said, for the player's sake, let him go. And G was not fully compensated for that. And if you again recall, GU again has put in another case regarding Chippa United for Thulaganyo and Tumisa, no, not Tumisa, Messi. They're actually even calling for the same thing, to be compensated. So the big brother mentality happens locally or domestically. It even happens across borders. Like now, the one that you just gave a very clear example. A South African team now influencing somebody in Madagascar. So that's how things are. We actually look up to those people, and what they say goes. So that's exactly what the case is. But again, Kimov, on Adriana's case, I was wondering who actually authorized, because that's what I actually thought I would see with this when the CAS report comes out. Who actually authorized his ITC, because it's done on the system and it's FIFA registered, CAF registered. The team that the player is leaving actually needs to approve the transfer. So I actually thought we would see some lessons and learnings from this case that we can take home and actually learn from. But we have not seen a report as yet, but we've seen Kaizer Chiefs putting out across that this is where we are, this is what it means. So hopefully we'll see the judgment in from it.
Yes,
because that's very important.
Very important. Maybe just to shed some light, Mr. Leroy. They said the player unilaterally terminated the employment contract with force. Like we have been given an example of NATO. You know, this player is wanted by Kaizer Chiefs. and you are Fossa Juniors in Madagascar. A player comes to you and he tells you that he wants to terminate his contract. You're like, why are you terminating your contract? He doesn't give you reasons why he's terminating his contract. At a later stage, after you have released him now, you realize that, oh, flip, this player was influenced by this particular team to actually terminate his contract. Then you look at the reasons that the player gave you, you find that there's absolutely no reason. But the only conclusion is he was influenced by this other club. So that's why now, at the back of that, Fossa Juniors took the matter to FIFA, DRC, to look at the matter to say, we terminated a contract for this player, only to realize that the player was actually influenced by the club that he was going to. And, they could prove that because this guy, he came for COSAFA competitions at the time. And, the news were there. I want to believe they even pulled newspaper articles, these things that are simple like that to substantiate that claim. And to be honest with you, I think that's how they got the matter, because they could actually prove the territory of the case. If you're joining us, this is the Football Experience, an online show aired every Thursday from 7 until 8 p.m. I'm your host, Molefhi Kannemeyer Obenne. I'm with one of my panelists, Kagiso Leroy Ratswaneng. We're looking at various newspaper articles and also some news that made it on the social media platforms. Unfortunately, we don't have Thuli, Jankey, and Fox Phatsimo. They have sent in their apologies. You can catch us live on Killer Pass Facebook page, on the Parrot online Facebook page, and also on the Highland Sports Facebook page. Back home now, Mr. Leroy Ratswaneng. Terry extends his stay at Toronto. This is Thuli's news. I want to believe wherever he is, he's so excited that Stembile Terry Mputi has signed a 2-year contract extension with Notwane for the next 2 years. Terry has been a spine of Notwane. He has been a heartbeat of Notwane. Fortunately, they managed to have him extend his contract. Yes, Mr. Leroy, your take on Terry's extension?
Yeah, that again says just a few things. Yeah, it actually says a few things. Whether if Terry likes it here, and if Terry again likes the team, likes the administration, he likes the players he's playing with. That's number 2. If Terry is taken care of so well that they need to move away, that's number 3. And number 4, the administrative acumen that probably the Northern administrators possess. Terry is a very brilliant player. He's a very, and to be very honest, I actually thought he's never going to take long at North. He was one player I looked at maybe moving to one of the big 2 teams because there used to be big 3 with Sunday Chiefs, but now it's only big 2 teams. That's how Botswana football lovers usually call them, Rollers and GU. But for me, on the adverse now, I think for him to stay at Northern is very good for him because he actually has shown his potential. And if actually he likes it there, he likes the training, he likes the administration, he likes the players, he likes the money, why move when you can go and exert yourself and be a regular again and reach the peak of your football? Because ideally he knows that he's been looked at, and you'll be surprised if then he's called by the nation selectors, looking at how he's been playing. Because if you come to a country and then you switch and change the game, you switch and change teams, sometimes it doesn't. It's a new league for him, new level. Sometimes it doesn't help to actually not acclimatize and stick to what you know best, perfect it, and then you can move when you are certain that you know what is happening. So whoever is giving him advice, I would say kudos to that person. I hope his agent is actually doing that work, because that's what it actually shows, that he's got a good rapport with his agent, and again a good rapport with the players and the administration at North. So for North, I would say big ups to the management for each other that he does.
Kudos to Norton as well for having kept this amazing talent, Mr. Leroy. I want to believe the supporters of Norton are also happy. They've been wondering what is going to happen to Terry. There you have it, Sechaba Norton supporters. Terry is not going nowhere. He'll be with the club for the next 2 years, unless another team comes with a better offer and then buy him out of his contract from Norton. Those riches, Mr. Leroy, they had this player, a Tanzanian midfielder in Abdul Miss Rikishi. He terminated the contract, I believe, mutually, because of this COVID issues. The club had a meeting with his agent, and the player is back in his country. So we wish him well, and then I want to believe fairness prevail at the end of the day. We have struggled with a lot of foreigners. If you remember, well, even Township Rollers, they sent their players back. I remember that midfielder. He went back to his country, and then the striker, they also took him back to his country. What does it say in terms of now foreigners coming into our football? Do you think maybe this might sell bad for our football, that we can sustain football during COVID? Or people will give us the benefit of the doubt and say it was just a COVID situation that actually happened to Botswana during that time?
Kimolf, I would not hesitate to tell you that the recent surge of foreigners, or foreign players who come into our country, has not seen those that actually become top of mind. We've seen some lackluster performances, just below average, but they come here and take places of our local players, and we end up forcing these players to actually try and be what they are not, because then they with high expectations way above our local players. That's why they actually been brought over to actually give and actually more that our guys can learn from. So I think COVID, regardless of people saying probably teams do not have money now and all that, this is Orapa United we are talking about. Joining Galaxy, just they took out their three foreign players, and then they actually brought in 3 more to replace those. So it actually shows you that money is not the issue. Because if you introspect, I think COVID came in, and the positive that must be taken out of it is that people as individuals should have introspected. People as groupings must have introspected. Companies must have introspected. Societies like these clubs, they must have introspected, where they actually look inside themselves to say, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? What we're doing now, and if we consistently do it, does it give us the results we desire? And what do we need to do to actually get different results? So I think these are what actions actually speak louder than words. These are actually actions that demonstrate that some teams actually introspected, and they're saying we don't need to actually import an average player who's going to take a place of a player who is local and can play better. Maybe let's give our local players some chance. And if we go out to import, we need to import a high-grade player. And Kimolf, we're looking at Botswana League, Premier League, and we try and compare it with South African Premier League, the DStv Premiership, where we think players can move from their countries to come here and play locally. That's a false start for us. We actually need to grow our own players, because it shows and it has been demonstrated over time that we are no longer attracting good foreign players. Unlike in the past we had very, very good foreign players. We actually were playing for national teams, and we're actually doing well in those national teams. Some actually came to Botswana in transit to South Africa. We saw that. The likes of Buchikoti, they actually did that. May his soul rest in peace. So currently, we are not attracting very good players, and that actually talks to our league. Do we have a league that is so attractive to very good players? Do we have a product to sell? Because then a product to sell would bring in good money that actually can be used to attract those good players. So we should introspect as BFA to say, our kid who is the Botswana Football League, what are they doing well that can be augmented? What are they doing bad that needs to be removed, and something else being put in that place? Because ideally, if we're going to commercialize our league and not actually improve on the quality that we are displaying every week, then we're not going to sell any attractive football. Our product will still remain a product that cannot compete adequately with any other entertainment facility or entertainment avenue that is available in the country. So we need to actually introspect. And for Rapa, I say, big ups to them. I hope somebody's going to take his place and deliver.
We hope someone better will take Abdallah's place and actually deliver. Moving away from the anguish situation to an euphoric situation, Mr. Leroy, Mahabudi Tsotsongela. This was on Sunday when Killer Pass ran the story. But by Wednesday, which was last night, they played against Mamelodi Sundowns and they actually drew 0-0. So it means Tsotsongela has now scored 3 goals in 3 games for TTM. You know, we thought Tsotsongela was dead and buried, especially after he did not even play a single game under the bubble when the South African football returned. And Black Leopards were still not sure about his future, and they did not want to risk playing him because to them he was no longer their player. But here he is with the TTM, having scored 3 goals in 2 games. They say class is permanent, form is temporary. Is that Tsotsongela for you?
Tsotso is our brightest bulb currently. Without a doubt, I mean, look at what he achieved, even when he was still at Platinum Stars. He went to Sundowns on loan to Vets. He actually got a league medal again, and he's one of those players. When given a chance, he will deliver for you. What I think now the TTM is doing, because it's a no pressure team. Ngele just needs to work hard, such that his contributions can be more than the goals he's scoring. So that's really what is going to happen, because he can actually do more than just scoring goals. He's one hell of a passer of the ball. He knows how to see what other players do not see. Those small little avenues, he knows how to actually make those passes. We've seen Ngele at his best at Platinum Stars. I mean, once he left our shows, we saw him at Platinum Stars. He did everything. He did literally everything for Platinum Stars, and they got those the cups, Telkom cups, and because he actually had that contribution, he knows how to do it. So he's gonna get his chance at TTM. No pressure. He's going to deliver without a doubt. And currently, as things stand, he's among the top goal scorers in South Africa. I mean, in this league, the DStv Premiership. I mean, if you take his total goals, the 2 goals in the cup and then the one in the league.
Yeah.
So he's actually doing very well, very, very well. So he needs just to, because he actually was not so active, and he needs to work on his work rate again, and he's going to be himself, because he still has the body that he can carry. His body is not too heavy for him, so he still can shed off this little weight that he probably put in, and come January, he's just going to deliver week out.
Something that we should maybe pay homage to when we talk about Tsotsongele, Mr. Leroy, is the fact that, in the longest time that I've known Tsotsongele, he had actually scored 2 goals with a header among the 3 goals that he has scored. I usually know him to be, that sweet lefty foot and at some point your right footer there. But this time around, he surprised me. He scored with a header. So it shows there's an improvement in his game.
Yeah, when you get confident and you actually like what you're doing, that's what you do. Because when you are fit, that's what most coaches have said. When you are fit, confidence is natural. When you are fit, and other things you do them, and when you sit back, and you probably replay the game that you played in your after the game, you actually can even wonder what if that was you, because you are fit. So I think when he's fully fit, we're gonna see more of other things that we actually never saw him do. That I can assure you of. The 2 headers, we actually haven't. I was watching TV with somebody and I said, Nzozo with a header, and he actually made 2, and he goes inside, in between people, he out the net, and these are things that they come natural once you are fit. You don't even have to dig deeper; they just come naturally. And a brilliant player like him is just going to do many. You're going to see a lot from him.
We hope to see more from Mokgakoludi Tsotsongele, and we believe he will represent us well. This also excites me, looking at Botswana's senior national team, upcoming AFCON qualifiers against Zambia. I hope we could bring this magic to the national team. He needs to be the live wire. Most of the players that he'll be playing against, most of them, they have not played competitive games in the longest time. Close to 7 months, they've not been competitive, but at least with Tsotsongele now, having played 2, 3, 4 games, maybe he'll be better. And even after scoring goals, that's what we need. We need goals for the national team. And I'm very, very excited to see Tsotsongele back banging in goals. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is the Football Experience, an online show aired every Thursday from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. I'm your host, Molefhi Kannemeyer Obenne, also known as Kim Molf, an author of Botswana Football, A Fool's Paradise. The second edition of that book is out. It's called Another Day in Paradise, and that book goes for 200 pula. Please get your copy. You can catch us live on Killer Pass. You can also catch us live on the Parrot Online and Highline Sports Facebook page. Mr. Leroy, I don't know how much you know of Max Venter. Today it was his memorial service at Frankston Civic Center from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. I had a chat with a few guys, including Mr. Machola from Traffic there. He said he was one of the robust defenders. We like using this robust way in terms of defining someone who was doing very well. How much do you know of Max Venter?
I actually have not seen him play that much, and maybe if I've seen him, maybe he wasn't. When I grew up, let me tell you this: I actually was somebody who liked players who are very, very skillful and creative. I actually never liked just tough players doing the basic things. I was one person who liked very, very skillful players. So that's where my eyes were actually based at time. And even when you ask about Tafike, I would talk about Bo Ramoni, I would talk about Bo Carlos Tawan, I would talk about Bo BBC Chele. Those are the industrial players. So Max, what I know about him is that he was a no-nonsense defender. That's what I know about him. He was one of those defenders at the time when he was playing. Most defenders actually believed in not being skillful. They believed in being so hard such that strikers actually are afraid to penetrate and to go in. So he was one such defender. And at the time he played, he took no prisoners. That's the little that I can say about him. But then as far as his influence in terms of maybe being a leader in the team and all that I have no much actually to actually enforce on. But I know he was one loved defender at Tafik. And I know one guy we played under 16 and under 19 football with was named after this guy, was called Max, because Max was the Max that I played with was also like that. He was so tough, and he was named after this one.
Max Venter from Machimenyenga.
May his beautiful soul rest in peace.
May his soul rest in peace, and we believe the God will comfort his family, and God's angels will also look after his family. May your soul rest in peace, Mr. Max Venter. Another anguish situation, Mr. Leroy, is the Senzo Miwa situation. They believe that there's a breakthrough. Police Minister Becky Taylor announced in an official press conference that SAPS has a watertight case and evidence against the 5 unnamed suspects who were detained between 8 and 10 o'clock, that is on Tuesday or on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. It has also been confirmed that the murder weapon has been retrieved with one of the suspects strongly linked to the said firearm, marking the biggest breakthrough since Mayweather's untimely passing in 2016. It has been 6 years now. So after gathering sufficient intelligence information and evidence, I'm happy to announce that there's been a breakthrough in Senzo Miwa's case. Should we be excited about this, Mr. Leroy? Especially, I think I was watching the news as they broke this. It was on Tuesday, and if you have never been to court, you'll even think the police have not done a good job. I remember one guy, one of the suspects there, he even refused, to stand in the, that smaller in the stand. He said, "Why should I stand here? Because I'm not accused. I'm not there. I don't know this guy. Oh, you guys just dragged me from the street and you brought me here." And then situations like that now to the public, they usually question the credibility of the case. But that's how it is. That's why we have to go to court, because the other person would say, "You have done this," and that person would say, "No, I didn't do that." So actually, we always have to have a day in court in order for us to prove with sufficient evidence that indeed something transpired. So what I'm just trying to say is people must know that in court, no one ever agrees that they're guilty. Even when we are guilty, you also need to go through trial so that every detail is being questioned, every detail is being scrutinized before the court, before you can actually be given the right sentence. Are you excited that finally we have something about Senzo's murderers? Yes, Mr. Leroy, are you still with me?
With court cases, Kim will get excited just at the end of getting arrested. I've been branded before. Yes, I'm.
Yes, you can continue, sir.
Kim off. Kim off.
Yes, you can continue, sir. You can continue, sir. I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. No, I said some big names before. Some people related to prominent names. Yes, some people. Okay, thank you. Some people related to some promise have been branded before, so you never know where all these things lie, because when the guy refused to take the step, one thing came to mind, that
at court, they usually say, he who alleges must prove. You know, if I allege something against you, Kimov, I need to prove it without the benefit of a doubt. So somebody refuses, and they know probably when they take the stand, if they face Gerinel, who is going to now bomb them with interrogative questions, somebody might actually step out to say something that they were not supposed to say, or trying to defend themselves and then putting themselves into hot water again. So it's back to the state to actually prove that these are the guys. If they fail to prove that these are the guys, then the guys are going to walk free again. So with court cases, you never get excited until sentence has been meted against suspects, because there can be twists and turns in any case. Other people have the ability to read into technicalities, and they can play around with those. And then ultimately, people walk free, even if people have done what they are alleged to have done. But because you are failing to prove it beyond reasonable doubt, then they walk free. So with Senzo's case, for me, it's a wait and see. Because 6 years later, and I can't get too excited. I can't get too excited because at the back of my mind, I say, but the real people involved have not been caught. People who were actually said to be present have not been asked to be witnesses to this of the state. So how is this case going to happen when the people who were there are not even part of the case?
You know, there's been a lot of pressure in terms of the South African public wanting justice on Senzo Miwa's murder case. And just like you mentioned now, it's 6 years later. And I remember one case that I was attending, and these guys were saying, how can you question me about things that happened 2 years ago? Because even at the back of my mind, I can't even remember those events. My mind is actually, you know, that's old in my memory tank. I can't remember that the events are very old. So usually we need to prosecute the case while it is still very fresh. And like you say, we're gonna have a long day in court. And then the other thing again, just to throw the spanner into this case, is Kelly Khumalo's cell phone records. Apparently, some documents were leaked, and those documents were actually instituting that the South African guys should do investigation on the records of Kelly Khumalo's phones with regards to who she called on the day before the day. Yes, and it seems like she's linked with one of these suspects. Those are just the allegations around the matter. And like you said, we are very worried that people who are actually on the scene, they are not witnesses for the state.
Yeah, true that, Kimolf. It's baffling, really, to be very honest. So if 6 years later, then you only talk about retrieving communications of a cell phone, why was that not top of mind immediately after the incident? And when the case was seen now that people are going in cycles and not getting to the bottom of it, that was supposed to be top of mind.
Mr. Leroy, let me take this opportunity to thank you. And then one thing that I must also highlight to you is that, you know, people should not get excited when you talk about phone records. Because phone records, what they actually show is that on this day, Leroy called Molf for this long. On this day, Leroy sent to Molf an SMS, not actually the content of the call or the content of the SMS. So with regards to that, it's very difficult to prove those details or those final details because it will be invasion of privacy. So yes, of course, we're excited, but we should also hold our excitement with regards to that. One of the viewers here, Mr. Leroy, is saying, Pramov, can't we learn from the Zebras camp? We hardly get updates as fans, as far as preparations are concerned. Is our team going to play some friendlies before they meet Zambia? Like, what is going on? Mr. Babuluki Ohone Kalaute. the team is on camp and they're preparing. And then remember, they had gradual return to play. So with gradual return to play, it was very difficult for them to take maybe a friendlies during the first month. So I want to believe maybe in the next week, after having been in the training camp for close to 5 weeks, they should be able to play 1 or 2 friendlies. Mr. Leroy, let me thank you and have a good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, Kimolf, and thank you to everybody who is watching and listening. May God bless you.
God bless you. See you again next time, guys. Bye.